Verily, verily, I say unto you, that if one said unto me, he must know the truth, or surely he knows the truth, I'd say, I know in part, not in full, that the truth manifests and is presented in different ways, through different approaches, through different meanings and double entendres, even multiple meanings through symbolism. What type of meanings can you pack into a symbol? Tons, hundreds, thousands of different meanings, even from every point, line, and curvature. Right? So, he must know the truth, huh? He must know the truth. Yeah, well, hey. Learn from me and from your creative perspective based upon the personalities that you've developed yourself into growing up over the years, whoever you changed and become to be ever since you were a child to an adult. Take the concepts and utilizations of the esoteric gnosis that I provide with the insight and see if you could come up with something either better or from a different point of view that makes one go, not only was he listening, but he was able to, in a way, like converting or to translate in a new translation or under a new tongue, but from various ways of speech, of languages, of approach, talk about that which I have been providing, shooting pearls to you people on the internet, or I've been shooting pearls, and see what you can come up with. Right? That's why I gave the brown book and the silver book and the red book to a certain particular church that I told them. And I remember, what was it? When I gave the brown book, I did it before one of the presidents, right? One of the presidents. And then the silver and the red book were in the mailbox, but I asked them, did you receive my silver and red? And they said, yes, we did. Thought it was rather interesting, but they said nothing more. But that it was rather interesting. But the president was able to see it. So yeah, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, think celestial. It's like, not only have I been thinking celestial, but I mean, I'm kind of scared because, hey, I want to ascend up beyond the stars and be like the Most High, when really, as Christians, we're instructed to put on Jesus, who is name above all names and one with hallowed, and even to say Emmanuel, God with us. So therefore, he's half hallowed and half Mary, the Son of God, but yet who is yet God. Okay, so to be like the Most High, I've been thinking third heavenly of the paradise land, the stone bench to the right. Alright, the sweet elderly man with white hair and a long beard and mustache that was walking with a iron walking stick. And all these things, the archways and the interesting owls and the creatures and the flowers and all these things of the paradise land. I've been thinking, and in the book of Enoch it describes the third heaven as the 10th heaven under the layers. So the very tip-top heaven and even to the throne, picturing the throne that could even lift off and levitate and be moved, that the throne, just like New Jerusalem, can descend, but the throne can also, God can move anything, anywhere, at any time he desires, at whatsoever will and when he wishes. Our Heavenly Father, hallowed be thy name. But I'm able to visualize a long stairway that is surrounded by clouds, and in the midst, here and there, in parts, there's white, gray, and dark clouds that emanate lightning and thunder. And when you climb up the stairs, there's a kind of like a square platform with four corners. And upon the four corners, there's Ezekiel's wheels. Upon the four corners, there's the four beasts of the throne. And then there's the 24 elders in the council. And then there's Jehovah's throne. And to the left of Jehovah, or to say hallowed per se, is Gabriel, and to the right of Jehovah, or hallowed per se, is Michael, and then to the right hand of Jehovah is Jesus. And in this world, naked we have been born into it, and when we die, though our corpses be clothed, well, at least most of us, we enter into judgment day naked. And verily, verily, I'll tell you some sort of interesting fact, that when God sees what you're doing, he'll go, he knows. Most people, when they die and they go to the judgment day in heaven, they cover themselves up because, hey, yeah, when you're in front of God, when you die, when the angels guide you through the light and you go through the light at the end of the tunnel, you'll be guided with the angels and you'll know it's foolproof. You're not going to be reincarnated into someone else, right? You're going to be you as you going through the judgment, either heaven or hell. And purgatory is a controversial subject, right? Let alone what if you run away from the angels and then you do go into purgatory because you say, I don't want to face judgment, I was too evil in my life, I'm going to go to hell, and you have no faith in your salvation at all in Christ, maybe because you didn't even confess it once. But I digress. What I was going to say is, I will teach you sound wisdom about you entering into the judgment of hallowed once you die, or during the rapture per se, before you're wrapped in a white robe. Alright? Don't put your two hands together to cover your penis. And for the woman, don't try to take one arm and cover both your breasts and the other hand cover your vagina. But just stand unashamed as if you don't know you're naked, like how Adam and Eve were before they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. All right, when you're at the judgment day, here's sound wisdom. God will say, why doth thou hidest thyself? Who taught thee that thou wast naked? But yet, if you don't hide yourself, because God knows how you look like when you're naked, whether you have all the clothes in the world on or not. Alright, you could even be wearing ski pants and a jacket. Alright, give me a break. He knows. So, again, born into the world naked we are. But then when we die and we exit our potter's vessel, and we go through the tunnel of light, and we exceed up past the universe up unto the kingdom paradise, thou in thy spirit with thy soul shalt be in the appearance of being naked. Yeah, you'll be naked. So don't be ashamed. That's what I'm talking about, alright? When you're in front of God, He's greater than your parents. When your parents wiped your diaper, or wiped your bum, when you're a baby and all that, and they helped you take baths and showers or whatever the case may be. And so God being greater than the most grand therapist upon the face of the earth, and Jesus understanding all problems and embarrassments and things, I tell you, don't be embarrassed to be in front of God or Jesus Christ and all the angels, like all of heaven basically, when you're naked upon judgment. Because why are you covering up? Why are you hiding what? Are you gonna get an erection? I mean, what are you scared of, huh? Before your sin is wiped away, before your sin is completely ridden and completely removed from your being. What? It's kind of like shit like that, huh? Next thing you know, you have a irrational pop-up thought and you're under paranoid fears. Yeah? Give me a break. So you get ready for Judgment Day, alright? Don't cover up. I mean, next thing you know, some of these people that haven't even read the Bible and they see that they're naked, they'll run or attempt to run to the nearest heavenly plant and grab its leaves to make bindings so they have some sort of cloth to cover their private parts, even though with sound wisdom that is unnecessary. Keep your right hand with your arms and your left hand with your arms to your side. Just keep your arms to your side. And don't talk with your hands either. Right? And watch what you say. Don't be ashamed to be naked in front of God. Don't be embarrassed. And yet, if you do blush, it is likened unto innocence that if one doesn't blush, are they keeping back something in some sort of secrecy, some sort of hidden manner where there's a different objective? Where it's like, why isn't this person blushing? For Adam and Eve blushed. As soon as they knew they were naked, Adam and Eve both blushed at each other when their eyes were opened. Yes, their faces went quite cherry red. concepts, and personalities. Back in Genesis, when God stopped creating on the seventh day, and after, what happened, when Adam and Eve were populating the earth and all that, things were, in a way, new under the sun, new to us. And so personalities and concepts based upon thinking with the knowledge of good and evil started to come into flourishing. Nowadays, in the modern day era, having there be nothing new under the sun, but it appears new to some. Your personality, either catchphrases that you say or the way you think, certain phrases and bits of knowledge, and the type of person you are and the fruits you bear, because you could judge a tree by its fruit. These fruits aren't new. These concepts come from other people in the past. So if you know a joke, hey, well, who taught the person who taught you that joke first, and who taught him? So all it is passed down concepts into people's brains that are in many of the other 7 billion people's brains. And through these passed down concepts, that back in the old days, after God stopped creating on the seventh day and things kind of were new to us, they were new to us. Now, it's all used and abused, mixed and merged to formulate your personality. So are you a unique individual? No, you're not. You just so happen to be like somebody else out there in the world. And hell, you even look in appearance like somebody else there in the world. You may have somebody that looks like your twin double, yet has different genetics. Alright, so yeah, the concept of there being nothing new under the sun, when you think about how your personality is formulated, alright, think about it. You're not necessarily unique, right? You're used up, old and dry, alright? It's just new to you because you were born at a particular time and date of year, alright? But unto a senior citizen, they may say, oh, I've heard that about 1,000 times. Oh yeah, but it was only the first time you heard it, and you wanted to pass it down to somebody else. So then they said, oh, that's old. You must be living under a rock. But yet they got that from somebody else. So where did it originate from? When Adam and Eve were populating the earth, and then after the flood with Noah, and then Noah's generation repopulating the earth. These concepts, these, the things that people say under the sun. So think about it. Define normal for me, alright? And with the increase of knowledge, and the increase of insight, and the increase of gnosis, think about it. Define normal for me, because people say, oh, schizo, meds, oh, because what, you're not free thinkers with an open mind? You guys are pathetic, let alone not unique, and you're not perfect.